welcome to the show, Body Slam the Competition. This is your host, Chris Adams, and I will be going at it solo tonight. Mike Current is not with us. He will return this upcoming Sunday, however. Look forward to having him back. Tonight, we're going to be going over a new segment we're bringing out that we hope to be doing this weekly here, where we will be talking with some of the great independent wrestling stars that are out there today that you may see in your hometown. And I got to tell you, if you're not going to watch them, you need to get out and spend the $10, $15 that they charge to get the tickets and get in there. These places are putting on some of the best shows that you've seen in a while. I mean, better things than you're seeing on TV today. So when they do come to your town, please make a point to go out and visit. Now today, our very first show we have with us today is Samantha Starr, and I'm going to be bringing Samantha on with us now. Samantha, are you with me?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Well, we really appreciate you coming on with us. This is our, as I said, our first show for the Independent Series. You're our very first guest for it, so you're kicking things off with us here. And just if you would, tell the people what a usual setup for the night would be for you when you're at a match and everything, from beginning to end there. When you start, go to your match, and how do you close things up and all?
Elaborate a little bit on that.
Well, I mean, like a lot of people, they watch what's on TV. That's all they know is what's on TV, and all they know is that they go there, everything's already set up to go. Of course, we know the ring gets set up beforehand and all, but as far as how you set your matches up and everything, when you get to the match and all, what type of a history do you have with your opponent usually when you get there? Have you normally, is this someone you've wrestled before numerous times? Is it a first-time match with them that weekend when you get there? I've been asked that same question before, basically how it all works with the indies.
Basically with the independent circuit, different promoters get to run different shows in different areas. It's not like WWE where you have the same roster every single week. I could face someone that I've never faced before or face someone that I've faced 40 times before. It just depends on the area. It depends on the promotion and what they want as, like, their females match for their brand. Everyone has like their own different outlook on wrestling, and they like some promoters like high flyers and some like old school or strong style. So it definitely depends on what the promoter is looking for as far as the show goes, because some shows you go to are just straight hardcore shows, and you'll have girls that like go out there and like beat the crap out of each other with weapons and stuff like that, or you have like the babyface pretty girls that are more into like spank spots and like the taunting and like the sex appeal. So I actually this past weekend I got to wrestle in Fayetteville, North Carolina for the first time, and I got to face an up-and-comer. She's been around for a couple of years, but her name's Sahara Seven, and it was my first time against her, and she's a phenomenal athlete. Definitely would not mind getting in the ring with her again. And then on this past Sunday, I also wrestled a young girl named Maddie Max. She's only 18 years old. It was her third wrestling match ever. So it just depends on the area. It depends on who's available. I travel a lot. I go anywhere on the East Coast. Primarily, I stay from South Carolina up to Pennsylvania is normally my running grounds. But it just depends on the area and who's available.
Great. Well, what do you think the hardest thing you've encountered in the business is so far?
There's kind of a tie. One, because I am a third-generation wrestler, I have to live up to, like, everything my parents did. And I have to, like, make my own path and set my own standards, in a sense, because I get the people that are like, oh, well, you'll never be as great as your uncle, or you'll never be as great as your mom, and stuff like that. I get that a lot from people that kind of, like, want to downplay what I've done for myself. So that's definitely, like, really, really crippling at points, because they're just looking for me to mess up so they can, like, throw it in my face.
Oh, yeah, I can understand that.
Also, being a female in the business in general, females have it really, really hard to get respect, because we went through the Attitude Era, and we went through, like, lingerie matches and pillow fights and stuff like that, and there are a lot of guys that just...
That's it. That's the reason why you guys get such a hard time, I think. It's really a shame, too, because there's a lot of great women wrestlers out there. There was great women wrestlers in the past, too, but they didn't get to show it that much because of how they wanted them to display themselves on television.
Exactly. And I've had the people that just don't think that women belong in wrestling just because that's how it should be or how it used to be or however you see it. But then you have women athletes that are out there actually putting on one hell of a wrestling match, not just for the sex appeal, not just because we have, I'm sorry if this is a family show, not just because we have tits and ass, but we have people on the independent circuit that are very dedicated professional athletes that don't get the respect that they deserve just because we're only seen as sex symbols and think that all we have to do is do a spank spot and take the match home.
And it's sad to say that is true, though. I mean, it is. I don't know if it's gotten better or worse, to be honest with you. It might have gotten a little bit better. I don't know. But, used to when the big organizations, you had like your Trish Stratus, your Lita, I forget her name now, Molly Holly, I think, and some Mickey James and people in that era, they had them go and do a little bit of everything. But when they let them wrestle, I mean, they had some great matches. And here recently with NXT, with letting Charlotte and Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks and all just let loose and wrestle, they put on some great matches and even main evented some pay-per-views. So, I mean, it just goes to show you they are out there. It can be done if they just let them show what they can do other than stand up there and twirl. Because, I mean, a lot of kids watch the show for one, and you're right. Like you said, there are some things that are being a family show they don't want their kids to go out and see. They want to see them wrestle, not get up there and twirl their stuff around for everyone to shake, to clap for and everything. But
exactly.
Unfortunately, that's how they do. You kind of touched on it a little bit just a second ago. If you will, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that don't know exactly who your family are that you're talking about that you got to live up to. And I will tell you, you've got some. That's a tall order to live up to when you go all the way down the line there. I mean, you got some great names in that family that wrestled.
Okay, so to go down the line, and give me a second because it'll take a second. My parents are Sam Houston and the Perfect 10 Baby Doll. My uncle is Jake the Snake Roberts. My aunt's Rockin Robin. My grandparents are Lorraine Johnson, Wildman Roberts, and Grizzly Smith. So I definitely have a really thick lineage. Pretty much everyone in my family wrestled or at some point was inside of a wrestling ring. My mom's brother, he's never really talked about, but he actually got to referee for a little bit back when my grandfather ran his promotion. So everyone's really been inside the ring and like gotten a feel for it. Just somewhere more breakout stars than others.
Yeah. I mean, it could be in your blood. I mean, but if you don't have, to get in the ring to be able to carry that match and be charismatic and everything, it's hard to hold a long-term career with it. But a lot of your family, like I said, has been up there at the top and stayed up there for a while and were great wrestlers. I'm sure you're no different than them. I did see some of your matches on YouTube. I did watch a couple of those coming in. Looks like you, I don't know if it's your normal finishing move or not, but it looks like you took out your dad with that bulldog there a little bit. It's a little moderated from his, but it looks very vicious. Full Nelson Bulldog, is that what you're doing these days, or?
I have one strong finisher that no one has ever kicked out of, which is the DDT, which if you do it correctly, your opponent should never kick out of it ever. You're straight dropping somebody on their head, honestly. But that's if you do it correctly. There are a lot of variations. There are a lot of mix-ups where you've seen people kick out of the DDT, but it's kind of one of those things where it's like my uncle created the DDT, like he invented it. So I definitely got that passed down through my blood as far as like that's a move no one's ever kicked out of before from me.
Yeah, I remember watching him doing that and just cringing every time the head would hit the floor. I'm like, oh, it's gotta hurt.
Exactly. And then I do a regular bulldog out of the corner, kind of like to spotlight my dad. But then I've also started doing a variation of it where I get my opponent in a full Nelson and then give them a bulldog with a full Nelson hooked in, which it's vicious and it busts their face, and I love doing it. I really do. But it's a lot harder to get into a full Nelson bulldog in a regular match than it is to hit just a regular bulldog out of nowhere. So it doesn't get to appear in every single one of my matches just because it is situational. But whenever I can lock that full Nelson in, I definitely capitalize on that opportunity and hit that bulldog with that locked in.
It is definitely impressive. I will say that. I was very impressed when I saw it. I mean, I was like, they reminded me, like I said, of the DDT. How it must hurt when they hit. I couldn't help but think, man, there's no protection for your face going down. You're just getting nose first, bam, on the mat.
Exactly.
So that's got to be rough. Do you watch any of the big brands today that are on television, or do you get much time for that?
I try to watch whenever I have the opportunity, but I do work full time. I do have a regular job, and the time that I do have off, which is normally only 1 day a week, that's normally when I'm traveling. So I don't get to watch as much as I'd like to. I try and keep up with it, and I try to listen to the gossip and stuff like that, but it's really, really hard for me to actually catch the programs.
When you do get to catch it, do you have anybody in particular that you like to watch?
Charlotte's been really, really impressive. She's really been a breakout, along with Naomi's a phenomenal athlete, along with Becky Lynch. Those three women, and Paige, of course, they've definitely kind of shaken the standards up a little bit when it comes to the Diva Revolution, because these girls are actually going out there and busting their asses, and they're phenomenal athletes, and they're going out there and performing every single night or every chance that they're on TV, and they actually put on a decent match. I've seen plenty of house shows for WWE, and the girls would only get 2 minutes, and it would be a tag team match or something like that. So it definitely went from, okay, well, this is just a spot filler, to now let's showcase our female talent. As far as male performers, I've always been a fan of Randy Orton. When CM Punk, I know I'm going to get backlash for this, but when CM Punk was at his peak really wrestling for WWE, I was a really big fan of him. His mic skills really were captivating. Currently, Bray Wyatt, his mic skills, they remind me so much of Jake. It's haunting, honestly. And then, always been a fan of Dolph Ziggler.
The show off. You gotta like Dolph Ziggler. He doesn't get as much of a push as he deserves sometimes, I don't think.
Neither does Zack Ryder.
No, and Zack Ryder is a great athlete out there, and he could do so much more if they let him. That's why I'm such a big fan of Ring of Honor that's out there, because I truly think if some of these guys were to leave the WWE, they could easily slide into the Ring of Honor and make a big star of themselves. And a lot of them that's in there now came from the Ring of Honor to top it off and went to the WWE. And I'm thinking, man, if they had just stayed, that company would probably be on top right now because of all the great talent they've put out over the years. And CM Punk was one of them. And you'll get no backlash from me. CM Punk's great. I like CM Punk. I wish he was back in wrestling. I didn't really like what he did when he left. He kind of put it down when he left. And after it made him big, he kind of put it down a little bit and talked about it a lot, and it
was really disappointing. It was disappointing to see him reach to such amazing heights in the company, something that people said that he would never ever get to do, and for him to reach such amazing heights and then to turn around and kind of bite the hand that feeds, that was so disrespectful to me. And I've been huge on respect. I pretty much grew up with wrestling. So I know, to shake hands and to respect everyone in the locker room and to respect the companies and respect everyone that's doing it, just that's in my blood. And to see someone turn around so quick, it was just disappointing to see. I understand, there's two sides to every story, and I'm definitely an outsider in the entire story that's happening or unfolding. I was never there. I didn't feel what he felt. I wasn't told what he was told, etc. But it was just, if you have issues with someone, if you have heat with someone, you kind of need to push that to the side and keep it professional in front of the cameras,
Or keep it backstage at least. Talk about it backstage. There's offices for that.
Exactly.
As much as the fans want to think that we know everything, and I'm a fan as big as anybody else. I've had my thoughts, my theories, my complaints, my criticisms. But when it all comes down to it, we don't know what goes on behind the closed doors. We see what we read on the internet that's supposedly happening behind stage, who's got what heat on them and all this good stuff. And you can't really believe all of it that's online. You really can't. And if you're not there firsthand to see and hear what's going on, then you're just getting the side of the story they want to put out on the internet for you to read. So I don't know how to take it exactly. I thought his pipe bombs he had were awesome. He had great mic skills. He could talk better than anybody out there probably. And what really got him over so well was he would do the no-no. He would address people by their names. It's Dwayne, not The Rock. It was Paul, not Triple H. he would call them by their first names and talk about how he was being disrespected himself, and men looked over. How could I be doing all this stuff? And all of a sudden you bring Dwayne in for WrestleMania, the main event WrestleMania, and people got into that, and they thought, they're like, man, is this for real or is it scripted? We don't know. What's going on? And it brought a freshness to it that we haven't had in a long time, because back when your father was wrestling, the kayfabe era they call it, you didn't really know what was going to happen for sure. Go off the air and somebody be getting beat down, and you wouldn't get the lowdown until next week. You would tune in next week to find out what was going on. You didn't see these guys out to eat. Right, exactly. And you didn't see the guys out eating dinner together. There'd be no Flair and Dusty eating dinner together anywhere at all. Now you might see that these days because everybody knows it's entertainment. They know what's going on behind the scenes and all that good stuff. But to me, like we've talked about with numerous people before, it takes away the mystique to it, and it's not quite as fun as it used to be. But when CM Punk started that little bit right there with the pipe bombs, it kind of brought a feeling of it back for a little while, and it was great. And then he was gone. So
right.
Hopefully he'll come back one day. I don't know. We'll see how that goes, but that would be nice to see him come back. Now, Emma, did I see this correctly? Are you currently wrestling for Vicious Outcast Wrestling? Is that the name of the company?
Yes, that's one of my main promotions.
And currently the champion here, right?
Currently the champion. I'm 4-time VOW Vixens champion. I've been wrestling with Vicious Outcast Wrestling for almost 2.5 years now. They run shows at least once monthly from Connellsville, Pennsylvania. And it's a phenomenal company to work for. They really take care of me. They really make sure that I have the best competition that I can have to better myself and to, represent the brand. That's a solid place where no matter who I'm facing, I always have a solid match with whichever female's there for the current show. So.
Yeah. Do you think we'll ever see? And I don't know. I think there's one out there now, really, but it's not really televised, though, that I know of. Anyway, but will we ever see another all women's wrestling show where you don't have to worry about, say, that the women will get their time because it's their show, and you don't have to worry about the guys being out there taking up 25 minutes for an interview, so the women's match gets 5 minutes next time around. You actually have the full women's show. And I think there was one not too long ago where it still may be going on. I'm just drawing a blank on it that I've seen online.
There's a lot of companies that are really pushing for just women's shows. You have Shine and you have Shimmer, which primarily I think they go out of Florida, I believe. But you have Shine and you have Shimmer. You also have Valkyrie, which is up in New York. I know they really promote their women's wrestling. Also, there's an up-and-coming show. It's Queens of Combat, which I've noticed it primarily around, North Carolina. Queens of Combat features, I think it's 90% women on the show. They might have 1 or 2 men's matches, but there's, 5 or 6 female matches. Also, Girl Fight has started up and has been a pretty consistent show up in, I remember seeing it in, Indiana, and they were talking about having another one in Pennsylvania, in Dunbar, Pennsylvania, but I think that got postponed or moved or something. But Vicious Outcast Wrestling also promotes a all-female show once a year, which this upcoming one is May 6th. It's a Friday in Connellsville, Pennsylvania. They call it the Queen of the Ring competition, which it's kind of like Money in the Bank. You compete, and it's a tournament style where the winner of all the matches, at the end, you have a fatal 4-way, and the winner of the final match, they get a crown, which is a contract to cash in for a title shot.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, this will be the third year that they've had the competition, and it's always in May. It's called Queen of the Ring. So
I would love to see this on. That in general for sure, but just a show on television where we could actually enjoy the women's wrestling and actually know we're getting wrestling when we see it. That's what I wish I could find on the TV. Now, do they do it online? Do they show it online on YouTube? I know YouTube has been bringing up some networks lately that are putting out original content. I thought that might be a platform that they may take someday. Do you know anything about that, if they'll ever go that route?
I know they were talking about having iPay-per-views, but I don't know if it's ever been cemented in. I know that they have the DVDs available, and I think Shine down in, I'm sorry, Shine or Shimmer, one of them has has iPay-per-views available online, but nothing has hit national television yet.
Okay. Is there anybody out there that you have seen wrestle that you would like to wrestle with yourself? I mean, whether it be other independent circuits or the ones you see on television sometimes that you would just love to get the chance to be in the ring and wrestle against?
There's a few. I'm a really big fan of Jessica Havoc. Also, of course, Tessa Blanchard. Both of us being third generation, I would love to get into the ring with her.
I've heard a lot about her lately, too, to be honest with you. Tessa Blanchard, I don't see a lot of her on, as much as I used to online, it seems like. It's like, I didn't know if the hype had burned down on her or something, or what. But yeah, I do remember she was...
injury.
Oh, okay.
She hurt her collarbone, and I know she recently had surgery. But if you keep up with her Facebook, she's been busting her ass in the gym. She'll post pictures almost daily of her progress and what she's working on, and she's going to have a really, really, really strong comeback. So Jessica Havoc, Tessa Blanchard, of course Charlotte. I think it would be really cool to have Charlotte, Tessa, and myself all together for a show. And I'm curious to see how I've got an upcoming match against Tara Calloway, and I hear a lot of really good things about her, but I've never had the opportunity to be in the ring with her. So I'm curious to see how Tara and I will do. That's upcoming in March, I believe.
Yeah. Now, do you think there will be a possibility, or do you think it would be a cool thing to see temporarily at least? You know, they always talk about comparing one generation to their prior, father to son to father, daughter to father, whatever, and all this good stuff. They mentioned not too long ago the female Four Horsemen. They were talking about the possibility of throwing a female Four Horsemen together, but they were using all the NXT girls, and I was thinking, man, why would you do all the NXT girls? Because, yeah, you got Charlotte, well, you got Flair's daughter, but you got Tessa Blanchard out there. I said, I don't know if any of the Andersons had daughters that are wrestling or anything, or Barry Windham might have had a daughter or anything like that, but I thought, you've got you out there, being in Baby Doll was with him at one point, with the Horsemen, with Tully Blanchard for a little bit. I thought that would be cool. There'd be, at least 3 of the 4 right there. Then just bring anybody else you want in, and you got your female Four Horsemen. I mean, that would be really cool to see. You could rule the wrestling scene.
That would definitely be interesting, and they would make a ton of money off that. But we'll see if it ever happens. So. I want to see if it'll actually happen. I've had the honor of being a part of a couple WWE shows. I was a Rosebud for a couple days, and I've met with like John Laurinaitis in seminars. So my main focus up until last year, whenever I had the seminar with John Laurinaitis, he informed me to get a degree. He said, go to college, get your education, because you don't know if you're going to go out there and get hurt. So go out, get your education so you have a solid backup plan just in case. It was like you cannot guarantee your future as a pro athlete. You just can't do it because there are so many contributing factors. So in May of 2015, I graduated with a degree in culinary arts. So my recent focus has been straight wrestling. I do have a shoot job where I work like 50 hours a week every single week just to put a roof over my head and to make sure that, I have funds so I can travel and chase my dreams. But my main focus right now is wrestling and being successful.
But if it wasn't for these darn jobs, we could all have fun, couldn't we?
Exactly.
I would like nothing better. I'd like nothing better than to sit here and do this all the time with you guys. Talk wrestling, whether it be some of the best independent stars out there, some of the top stars there, legends of past. Legends have been my big target so far. That's what I've been shooting for, and I've had probably somewhere between 6 or 7 so far. We've only been about open for 14 weeks here, this podcast, and half of them have been with legend interviews so far. So I've been very fortunate for that, and I think with this expansion we're doing here with the independents and everything, I look a lot forward to this because I talk to a lot of great people online who are wrestling right now, and we talk a lot that way as well. And I just like to get their word out there. I want them to be able to promote themselves as well and who they work for, and just get those names out there so people become familiar with it more and more. We got about 4 minutes left before we got to go, so I want to ask you one more quick question if I can. Do you have any advice for any of the young girls out there that might want to try and break into the business, other than, of course, get your education, which is very important? But is there anything they should know that you could pass on to them that they want to know before attempting to get into it?
Okay. 1, always get your education, have a backup plan. 2, whenever you're learning how to protect yourself in the ring, tuck your chin. It took me forever to learn how to tuck my chin. I had so many concussions, and I would, fall out of the ring, throwing up because I was so dizzy. So learn how to tuck your chin before you really start to take it seriously. And always, always, always have fun. Don't let it become a job. There's always, every time I go out, right before I have a match, I always have, I know it's funny, but I always have this overwhelming urge that I have to pee. And it's those nerves, it's that anxiety, it's those butterflies in your stomach. Whenever you lose that feeling of excitement and adrenaline and butterflies, that's when you know to retire. So never lose that feeling. Always keep chasing your dreams.
One of the main things I could probably know is if you do a job that you love, you'll never work a day in your life. So
exactly.
If they really dedicate themselves to it, they dedicate themselves to working out and staying in shape, like you said, learning how to defend themselves in the ring properly and everything, learning how to take the falls right. Don't get crazy and do spots you're not familiar with. Don't do a Brock Lesnar that you're not sure of by doing a moonsault or something and landing on his head years ago. Don't be doing something you're not familiar with, that you're not real great at doing. Limit yourself to what you know you can do the best. And showcase it. Back in the day, it wasn't anything that major. You didn't have to do a 450 splash to get a win. You could just jump on somebody from the top rope, and that was over with. You could do a leg drop.
Used to be a finisher.
A leg drop, a double drop kick. I mean, nowadays, if you do a leg drop on somebody, they're kicking out at 1. If you're doing their finisher, they're kicking out at 2, 2.5. It takes the finisher 3 or 4 times over before it's over with. And, it gets crazy. So just do what you love with it and practice on that, I would say, just to follow up on what you said, and just love what you do. Because if you're not loving it no more, may as well leave.
Feel free, anybody that's interested in becoming a wrestler, interested in my side of how things work, feel free to message me. My wrestling page is Samantha Starr. You can always shoot me a message. I do my best to get back to everyone as soon as possible. So feel free to ask questions. Feel free to message me. Feel free to send me your number, and I'll be more than willing to share advice and give any suggestions that I can and help people out. I'm always for helping people out. So.
All right, well, Samantha, we really appreciate you coming on with us and being our first guest in this line of shows we're going to be doing here today. It means a lot to us. Hopefully we can get back in touch with you later down the road sometime, see how things are going with you, if it's okay, and bring you back on again.
Thank you so much.
All right, and as I told your dad the other day, he mentioned you quite a few times. I said, tell her I'm trying to get a hold of her. Tell your mom the same thing. We're after her too.
Okay,
we're gonna catch her one. We're gonna catch her one of these days, and we're gonna get her on the show with us. So, but we do appreciate you coming on with us once again. Look forward to talking to you one more time down the road, and good luck with what you're doing and everything, and hold that title as long as you can. All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a great night. Thank you. All right, everybody. That was Samantha Starr, daughter to Perfect 10 Baby Doll and Sam Houston himself. Great career she's got going on so far. It sounds like she's a very bright future ahead of her as well, and she was a real joy to talk to. So hopefully we get someone on here with us next week to talk more the independent circuit. And I'm going to urge you once again, if they come to your town, make a point of going to them. www.bodyslamthecompetition.com is the webpage. Make sure you go there and register for the newsletter to get all the best stuff from us all the time. And keep enjoying wrestling, everybody. We'll talk to you again this upcoming Sunday. Bye-bye.